We have the latest as the OSP reviews how some of the seized cash found in the former sanitation minister's house had been transferred from the United States.
From October 2023, investigation became cross-border and transboundary upon the claim by the persons of interest that part of the seized cash sums was transported to Ghana from the United States.
The Economic and Organized Crimes Office has taken over the case tonight with all cash and other items seized from the home of the former sanitation minister now returned.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. The Office of the Special Prosecutor may have abandoned its 11-month probe into the $1 million stashed cash scandal involving former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah. But tonight, the SP has declared he will reopen the case if fresh evidence emerges. We have more on Top Story for you about this particular developing story. But first, let me take you into the election headquarters where some news developing in the last few minutes. Mike placed the Minister of State responsible for local government, Obiamwa, in a fix. And this is your election headquarters. It's always brought to you by Petrosol. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. With less than 48 hours to go now for the crucial MPP parliamentary primary, the party has just taken the decision to suspend polls in the Ikuapem South constituency. There's a statement out tonight. My colleague Kojo Brace joins me with that. Kojo.
Now, the party says the leadership of the MPP has resolved to postpone the Ikuapem South parliamentary primary initially scheduled for Saturday, January 27, 2024. This decision is in response to petitions received, accompanied by recommendations from both the Constituency Executive Committee and the Regional Executive Committee. The postponement, they say, aims to ensure comprehensive consultations and to address raised concerns. Now they're asking that they rely on the unflinching commitment and cooperation of all who are involved in this. So that's what the party is communicating today.
And that is a very important point to note. As you're learning tonight, there is tension in the Ikuapem South constituency. And we know the background to this. The background to this is that the Minister of State to the local government ministry, Obiamwa, 2 days ago, pulled out from the race because he had been in the race. They had balloted. Positions had been taken, and then he pulled out. Then we begin to learn that apparently this was part of a strategy to disqualify
the MC,
which is
the constitution of the party says that where there is a certain MP, the MC would have to resign 2 years prior to be eligible to contest for this. Now, once the MC had not resigned 2 years prior, it means that he couldn't have. So if the MP has now finally withdrawn, then the MC is also making a claim that if he has withdrawn, then put me on the ballot. I think that is why all of this is coming up. And this letter is signed by the General Secretary himself, Justin Kodia Frimpong.
And we'll get to hear from the party in the region pretty shortly because apparently this was going to disintegrate the party in the particular constituency if indeed the polls had gone ahead on Saturday. And so they advised the party to look at that and consider a petition that had been filed, by the way, by the MCE on the matter subsequent to the decision by Obiamwa to withdraw. Obiamwa spoke to us 2 days ago about this, about the reason why he decided to take this step, very unusual step, to withdraw from the race at this very last minute.
The issue of putting politics doesn't come in at all. Except that I'm not standing again, that is all. It's for the people to judge whether I'll be missed. I cannot stand here and say that I'll be missed. Of course, by the grace of God, this is my 4th term in Parliament, and I've gathered experience along the line. I've also served in the executive. That is the kind of experience that the party can always use at any time. So that is how it is. As to whether I'll be missed, I don't know how I'm going to be missed, because I'm still actively involved in whatever goes on. Personal interest and personal interest, period.
So that there is Obiamwa, who pulled out of the race just a couple of days ago. Now, just 48 hours on, the party has taken a decision to suspend the poll altogether because of the tensions that we understand is flying pretty high there tonight. Just before we came on air, we managed to get a word from the Eastern Regional Secretary of the MPP, Tony Osei, who painted a picture that they painted to the party, by the way, the National Party, about the internal feud that has erupted over the decision by Obiamwa to pull out.
The MC filed a conditional nomination, bearing in mind that at any point in time, he has heard that the MP will not run. But for one reason or the other, he has picked a nomination form to run. So at any point in time when the MP decides to withdraw from the race, he should be considered. So when the MP withdrawal letter came, he wrote another petition asking for the pre-filing petition that he wrote. So the national leadership needs to take a decision. So the constituency executive committee, led by the chairman, wrote a letter signed by the chairman and the secretary that, looking at the atmosphere in the constituency, in their wisdom, they think the election should be put on hold. But they cannot take decision themselves. So they have to forward the letter to the regional secretariat. So when we got the letter, we also cannot take decision on our own. So we have to write another letter attached to the petition that we have received from them. So when the letter came, the regional leadership also write a letter backing their claim that in our opinion, we think they are in the constituency. So whatever they are telling us, one way or the other might be the sentiment on the grounds. So we think it is better the national leadership take a decision based on that. So when the letter came, we are not surprised.
This is what we know. Obiamwa, who is a Minister of State responsible for local government, picked up nomination forms, and that surprised many because he picked up the nomination forms with his personal aide, Eric Yeboah Apawu, and many knew that they were close. Mr. Apawu is his personal aide, and so questions were raised. Now, we learn later from individuals in the community that the rules of the party governing the process, the elections as far as the parliamentary primary is concerned, was very clear. That sitting members of parliament could not be contested by MCEs, MMDCEs generally. So if you're an MCE or a DCE, you would have to resign your position 2 years prior to the poll. And in this particular case, in the Akuapem South constituency, the MCE in that particular area was interested in running, but did not resign 2 years prior. And therefore, if the sitting member of parliament picked up the nomination forms, he automatically was disqualified, which is what happened in this particular case. He could not run once Obiamwa had picked up the forms to contest. But of course, he was out of the race. He knew that until Obiamwa pulled out. And many in the constituency say it was a strategy all along to disqualify the MCE in the case, which obviously was about to actually materialize, because if Saturday had happened, he could not have been on the ballot because of the situation, which forced him to send in a petition to the party. And the party has now taken a decision to put that on hold because allegation is that it is abuse of the process, abuse of the rules governing the process, particularly in the Akuapem South constituency. I want to bring in my colleague, Kofi Sian, regional correspondent, who's been following this for us very closely. Kofi, from what we've just heard there, this has been one thorny issue in the Akuapem South constituency.
Yes, Evans, it's been an interesting development there in the constituency. You know, this issue has been making the rounds in the area for some time now, because the MC, who was a very close friend to the MP, said the MP assured him he was not going to run again. But surprisingly, their front broke, and OB decided that, okay, so I'm not going again. So I'm this time allowing my aide to run for that position. So the MC also decided that, okay, I'm also going to run. But once the party has said that all MMDCs cannot contest sitting MPs, so he decided to follow that rule. But later on, the MC told the media that the MP has decided not to go again, but in one way or the other, he's blocking him from also contesting. So he decided to file a conditional petition and a nomination with the regional headquarters. So when the vetting process was underway in the region, the MC appeared, but he was turned away because they told him the MP was contesting. So, Evans, it's an interesting development in the area, and I believe that now that the party has decided to suspend the elections in the area, the followers of the MC are very happy, and I'm sure from tomorrow we're going to hear from the supporters of the MC in the constituency.
Kofi, thank you very much there. And I want to bring in right now the Director of Elections for the MPP, Evans Nemako, who joins us right now. Also joining me for a quick chat is the Eastern Regional Secretary of the MPP, Tony Oseje. Tony Oseje, let me start with you. Should I take what I've heard, that your side and the executives in the constituency had also raised similar concerns when Obiamwa withdrew and had sent in a recommendation to the party to reconsider the decision to go ahead without the MCE, considering that he's also sent in a petition?
Yeah, good evening, Evans. Good evening to your listeners. Prior to the vetting, per the guidelines that we came out with concerning the parliamentary elections, in the constituency that we have the sitting member of parliament running, the DC or the MC cannot run. But the DC preempts his filing with a petition that he has said that the MP might not run. But he was surprised to see the MP picks the nomination forms. So he is writing a petition to the vetting committee, appealing that he knows he doesn't qualify because the MP is running. But at each point in time, if the MP decided to step out of the race, it should be considered. So when the MP withdrew from the race, he wrote another petition to the constituency and petitioned the region as well. So we told him we cannot take a decision on our own because the party has leadership at the national level. We are caretakers of the constituency, and we report to the national party. So they brought their petition. Looking at the atmosphere in the constituency, the chairman and the secretary signed a letter, a recommendation that they think in their wisdom the elections should be put on hold.
And this is a position that you support?
As a regional party, we also support that position. So we wrote a recommendation and attached their recommendation letter to it, and that of the petition that MCE brought, and sent it to the national party for a decision to be made on it.
I mean,
so
but the rules,
national party took a decision.
Yes, they have, and which is what we've talked about. But the rules are the rules. The rules say MCEs cannot contest sitting MPs in constituencies. Well, of course, you have sitting MPs.
Yes, please.
So Obiamwa changes his mind 4 days to the elections. Why should you put it on hold? Because somebody wants to contest.
The principal actor is no more there. In the case of Honorable Damboche is not running, so the DCE picked nomination to run. So if the MP who is the main actor and cannot and is running because the MC cannot run is no more there, I think it would be fair for us to look at the laws again. Apply.
Oh goodness, but we have a terrible connection to him now, and we'll try and see if we can fix that. But I have with me Evans Nemako, who is the director of elections for the party. Mr. Nemako, you're in charge of the elections. You have Saturday. This has now, from what we read, been postponed. Should we take it then that Ekrapim South will not vote on Saturday?
Thank you, my brother, for having me. I've heard you, and I've also heard the regional secretary of the party in Eastern Region. I'm happy that the general secretary has informed the party and the public at large that the party has put on hold the conduct of the constituency annual delegate conference arranged to have been held on Saturday, 27th. I mean, this tells you that the party is ready to broaden its consultation to ensure that as much as possible, all stakeholders are engaged in this whole exercise. That notwithstanding, the new patriotic party is ready to go ahead with the elections in the remaining constituency that we've slated for this exercise. We've had extensive conversation with the Ghana Police Service and the Electoral Commission. We've printed ballot papers. The EC has taken pictures of them. As we speak, almost all the ballot papers are on their way out of the EC headquarters to the various regions and then later to be transported to the state offices for the Saturday exercise. We are set. The General Secretary has issued out the protocols for Saturday's exercise. It is also interesting that since Honorable Piamwa issued his letter of withdrawal, it's become very topical, and that must tell you the role he has played in Parliament, continue to play government as well as in the party.
Yeah,
But at this point, I appreciate the concerns coming from the constituency party and the regional party. I think at the appropriate time, the national leadership will give direction on the way forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Evans Nemako. That he is in charge of the election, so we cannot expect elections on Saturday in that particular constituency, the Ekwapim South constituency. If you're in that constituency and you're a delegate, I want to hear from you. Even if you're not, send me a WhatsApp 055-1111-997. This is your election headquarters. We have special coverage of the MPP parliamentary primary for you this Saturday beginning from 7 a.m. across all our networks on the Joy News channel, on Joy 99.7 FM, on myjoyonline.com, and across our many social media platforms. Your election headquarters is always brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. And to a top story today, the Office of the Special Prosecutor today announced he has abandoned its 11-month probe into the $1 million stashed cash scandal involving former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa. But tonight, the SP himself, Kisie Jabin, has declared he will reopen the case if fresh evidence emerges. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, will now take the lead in investigating the matter. The special prosecutor disclosed today that large sums of dollars found in the former minister's house had been transferred from the United States, raising money laundering questions. Listen to the special prosecutor detailing the extent of his probe.
Was conducted in country involving 20 persons and 3 state institutions, and especially in the Ashanti region, to establish the financial standing of Ms. Dapa's deceased brother during his lifetime and at the time of his death, since it was alleged that a substantial portion of the cash sums belonged to Ms. Dapa's deceased brother. From October 2023, investigation became cross-border and transboundary upon the claim by the persons of interest that part of the seized cash sums was transported to Ghana from the United States. For that reason, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, of the United States became involved in a collaborative investigative work with the office on the matter. Investigation has been aimed at determining the sources of the large cash sums associated with Ms. Dapa and Mr. Osei Kufuor. The office has had the benefit of 7 months of in-country and 4 months of collaborative transboundary investigation.
Well, he mounted a strong defense of the work done so far by his office.
Members of the press, on the totality of the gathered evidence and intelligence, it seems to us that the case is largely in the province of suspected money laundering and structuring. By operation of law, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, has a specific and direct mandate in respect of suspected cases of money laundering and its attendant activity of structuring. Is referring the case to IOCO for continued investigation and further action. The office will be in close collaboration with IOCO and continued collaboration with the FBI. It is the extensive investigation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor with the collaborative work of the FBI that has led us to this conclusion. If the Office of the Special Prosecutor had a direct mandate by law in respect of suspected money laundering and structuring, there will be no such referral. But we operate within the confines of the law. And since the law that created the OSP did not necessarily grant such a direct mandate in respect of suspected money laundering, but the law that created the Economic and Organized Crime Office states specifically that they have a mandate in respect of suspected money laundering. Now, after 7 months of investigation, we have a body of evidence. So if we have come to the conclusion that it suggests, it seems to us that it is more in relation to suspected money laundering, then the proper thing to do is to refer it to the state institution, which by law has a direct mandate, as stated in the Act. The Office of the Special Prosecutor does not clear persons. One, we are not a court of law, so we do not clear persons that we do not find that the person has committed anything or otherwise. So we are clearing the person. All the reports in respect of which you see that we are ending the investigation, it means that we have not found what the law will require of us if we were to carry it on further in respect of the standard of proof. So if we investigate a person and the evidence is such that it will seem to us that we will not be able to secure a conviction, there's no point wasting the time of the court and state resources chasing after. It will just be persecution and not prosecution. So we never clear anyone. We only conclude on what we have found, and then we go on with further action if need be. And we are always minded to end that if we become aware of something else, some fresh evidence or some fresh fact, we will always revisit a matter. So on that point, if the office becomes aware in respect of our collaborative work from now on of some other factor which requires us to come in fully, the office will do so.
Well, joining me right now is Inusa Fuseni. He's a former ranking member on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee in Parliament. Mr. Fuseni, inevitable?
Well, the special prosecutor's reasons for referring the case to IOCO is quite baffling. He says that the case appears to him to be within the realm of money laundering, and asks, what is the predicate offense? Because money laundering is an attempt to hide illicit or illegal proceeds from illegal activities. So what is that illegal activity for which the province of the facts of the case, as uncovered through investigations by the special prosecutor, reveal? How did Cecilia Depa come by such large sums of money? And so I think that the special prosecutor must also answer the question as to the predicate offense, because in money laundering, there are predicate offenses. Number two, this appears to me again that the special prosecutor has vindicated those who have questioned the relevance of the office of the special prosecutor. We have all along tried very hard to convince the public that the special prosecutor needs time to be able to get his act together. But what he has said this afternoon has sounded a deaf knell in our fight against corruption, and also put into question the relevance of his office.
I mean,
Because-
Mr. Fuseni, I mean, the special prosecutor is operating under an act of parliament that you was very instrumental in passing, which says he can only investigate corruption and corruption-related offences. And so even if the foundational issue in money laundering may relate to other things, but not corruption-related activities, he cannot investigate.
So that's why I'm saying that the special prosecutor must answer the predicate offense. He says his investigations have uncovered that the province of the offense is in money laundering, and he has no jurisdiction. I agree. But what is the predicate offense? He has not told us the predicate offense that has been revealed by his investigations. He should tell us that one too. And secondly, we have gone back to square one. If we go and look at the 2016 manifesto of the MPP, the reason why the MPP advocated for the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor was precisely because they thought that the Attorney General, being a member of cabinet, would not be able to prosecute its own. And so you needed somebody who would be insulated against political manipulation, who would not be a cabinet minister, who would not be under the control and direction of the Attorney General to be able to prosecute such offenses like corruption. And so we created that office. He's referred the matter to Yoko, and Yoko prosecutes through the Attorney General. So we have gone back full circle to what existed before the creation of that office.
But that only is because he hasn't found anything that triggers his mandate.
So what informed his decision to serve Cecilia Dapa with the lifestyle audit forms?
Well, doesn't that actually back his case then? That presupposes he had gone into it and hadn't found anything that borders on corruption or corruption-related offense.
No, the prima facie, if you serve a public officer with a lifestyle audit forms, it means that you have come to the conclusion that the public officer is in possession of large cash of money, which money cannot be supported by her work or his work in public office. So that you need a prima facie case of the money being more far above the amount of money that you could earn legitimately in public office before you take a decision to serve a public officer with lifestyle audit forms.
Even when, after you fill the form, the evidence you provide disputes any claim that you may have acquired that wealth illegally or through corruption?
The special prosecutor is not even saying that the money has been acquired lawfully. He says that it is within the province of money laundering. Simply means that the money that has been found has been proceeds of crime, which the Cecilia Dapa has been attempting to hide. That's what it means. And I'm asking, what crime? What crime?
So you've asked the question, but you started with a conclusion and a verdict that this is a final nail.
Yeah, it's a nail.
Before you even had the answer to the question you asked.
Yes, it's a nail. I'm convinced beyond doubt that it's a nail in the final coffin of our fight against corruption. It's a nail. Yesterday I was reading the Ghana Coalition, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition report, and clearly the report was interested in the outcome of the Cecilia Dapa's case. And today, the report was released yesterday or the day before. The situation has changed dramatically.
Mr. Enusa Fuseni, thank you very much. And that's Enusa Fuseni there with his thoughts on this very controversial matter. Let me hear from you, 05511119997. The news night starts in a minute.
Breaking news. Vodafone Ghana is becoming Telecel. Stay tuned.
Hello, honey. Something has happened.
What? What has happened? Where are you?
The car, my brand new car.
What has it done?
The traffic light was on yellow. I stopped. Then there was a car behind me on top speed.
Oh! So it hit your back?
Yes, the back of my car. If only I'd been a little faster.
You see, I told you to use lungu when you're driving in this country. Eh? When I talk, you don't listen. Eh?
You can't control what will happen, but you can control how you respond to what happens when it happens. At SIC Insurance, we are always ready to come to your aid when the unfortunate happens. Call us today on 0800 1000055 or 030-2823-100 for your motor, accidents, fire, burglary, travel insurance, and more. Or visit our website at www.sic-gh.com. SIC, our promises are sacred.
Dive into a new era of news consumption with myjoyonline.com, your go-to destination for cutting-edge journalism, giving you the most credible stories from business to politics and from sports to entertainment. Myjoyonline.com introduces an upgraded news website meticulously designed to empower you with an enriched browsing experience like never before. Intuitive navigation. Navigate through an array of revamped categories that cater to all interests. Join the conversation with our interactive comments section. Get live TV,
confidence of the football
radio,
they can actually borrow,
and podcast of your favorite TV and radio shows on Joy and Adom platforms. Powerful search. Find any story with ease with a simple click. Access precisely what you're looking for. Experience the future of news browsing with myjoyonline.com.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, Defense Minister Dominic Netuwo was the instigator of my prosecution. That's ACP Agojo's latest accusation following his acquittal yesterday.
Having reconstructed the scene, I can tell you that it was the Defense Minister, Mr. Netuwo, who initiated this whole arrest process. He can take me anywhere he wants, and I'll prove to him.
He also had some strong words for the Attorney General.
Does he understand Arab Spring? If he doesn't, he should keep quiet. If he doesn't understand Arab Spring, he should keep quiet. He's a lawyer, but being a lawyer doesn't mean that you know everything.
Also tonight, Managing Director of ECG questions motive behind framing of the faulty law behind 15% value-added tax on electricity consumption, insisting it's practically impossible, in fact, a nightmare to attempt to implement it.
Then, whoever wrote that law we need to go back to that person to find out what was the mind behind you saying for somebody sitting in their home enjoying electricity, they should pay value-added tax.
Meanwhile, the Trade Union Congress is challenging the government to repeal the law.
We are not prepared to accept anything apart from total withdrawal of the VAT because you will not pay, and we cannot pay.
And in business, World Bank assures of measures to ensure prudent use of the $300 million budget support for Ghana.
And in sports, the search for the fifth Black Stars coach in 4 years begins as GFA sets up committee to be headed by the Vice President, Makado.
And later on here on Newsnight, our Sick Hospitals series focus on the Ifya Kwanta Regional Hospital in the Western region, where health workers are pleading for a working defibrillator. The absence of it is making it difficult to save patients when they get cardiac arrest.
To the normal, but because we didn't have, we continued with our CPR, and when we were all exhausted, we had to call it.
And this is your election headquarters. Is always brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. And tonight, as you may have heard on Top Story, the party, the New Patriotic Party, with just less than 48 hours to go before its parliamentary primary on Saturday. They've taken the decision to postpone the Akuapem South parliamentary primary. It follows the withdrawal from the race of the Minister of State responsible for local government, Obiamwa, who is also the incumbent member of parliament there, and a petition filed by the MCE in that particular municipality also to the party. It is one that, as we've heard from the regional party, had left the party in there in a bit of a pickle as they try to pick up the pieces from this. There's some tension there. They've advised the party, in addition to recommendation from the constituency, to put it on hold. The party agrees and has done so. Thankfully, joining me in the studio tonight for a conversation is the General Secretary, Mr. Kodia Frimpong, is my guest on the show as we build up into Saturday. Thank you very much for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you, Evans, and it's great to be here.
Great to have you. So, this decision that has been taken tonight, it's just less than 48 hours to go. Too close to the elections. Why?
Good evening to your cherished listeners. I think it's the best decision for the party. It came as a result of recommendation from both the party's constituency executive committee in Akuapem South and the regional party. And their reasons are very clear, that they want to make sure that after the whole exercise there will be peace. There will be peace in the constituency, and also to be able to have all stakeholders on board for us to campaign together as a party. So the national party had no other option than to agree to the request by the regional party for them to delve into how best they can address issues as stated in their letter.
I've been told a bit about the rules governing the process, and which may have come to play in the Akuapem South. Possibly why this has become very controversial. One, that if you're an MMDCEs cannot contest sitting MPs, and if you are, if you want to, then 2 years before the primary resign. But if you don't do so and the MP decides to go, you cannot contest him. Obiamwa decides to go, obviously then the MC cannot go. Of course, he's withdrawn now. So the MC says, I want to participate. But then there's a backstory to this, which is that Obiamwa picked the forms together with his special aide there, and people think the rules have been exploited. Is that what the rule says? Apologies there. There's a challenge with the microphone. We'll try and fix that immediately. We're having a conversation with the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Kodia Frimpong, as we approach Saturday, 27th, when the party will be having its parliamentary primary. I believe the microphone is working now. Yes, I was asking about the rule.
Well, so Evans, we are a political party, and no rules or regulations is cast in stone. At the end of the day, the most important thing for us is to make sure that we go into the 2024 elections maximizing our votes in our strongholds. So anything that we need to do as a party to make sure that we achieve that purpose is something that we are fully on board. So if in the wisdom of the constituency party and the regional party feel that we need to pull the brakes and for them to do some more legworks and also to do more consultation, that is the result that we want to achieve, because we don't want to also go into our elections where after the election there will be so much cracks in the party and it will take us so many months to do reconciliation. So if in the interest of having a united front, we have to defer or suspend the elections in the Akuapem South to achieve our purpose, the National Party will always support such a call.
But what is the ultimate objective of this? So that others, or in this particular case, the MC, can have an opportunity to contest?
Well, you are making that point. But the reason that was given to us by the regional constituency party is something that we are satisfied with. For them, they are saying that they need more time to do more consultation to properly advise the parties. I want us to stick with that. As to whether MC, special assistant, to me, that's not the issue.
Because your statement referenced a petition, and when
from
I
the
presume
region,
the only petition that
for me,
from
what
the
came to
MCE
us is the region.
The region.
So we are relying on the constituency request and the regional request, and the regional party request also.
Of course, Obiamwa had taken the decision he's taking. Was he spoken to before this decision was taken at all?
Well, definitely, Obiamwa has been one of the long-serving members of parliament in the party, and also is someone who has so much experience. It's unfortunate that he has decided not to contest again. Yes, he wrote to the National Party not long ago of his decision to step down, and it's something that we wish had not happened, because we know the kind of work he does for the party and also in Parliament. He's someone that we are really going to miss. But That's how we always say life has to go on, and he has reflected on where he is now and what he wants to achieve going forward. So we wish him all the best.
What will happen now? Now that you've put it on hold?
Yeah, so like I said, the regional party, the constituency party, I know will take steps to address the issues that they raised, and so that at least once it is done, the green light will be given, and the national party will take a decision as to what has to be done in the constituency.
This rule that says that if you are a sitting MMDC, you cannot contest in a constituency where you have a sitting MP. What informed it?
Well, there's a strong reason behind it. For us as a party, we know that our members of parliament spend bulk of their time in parliament helping to formulate laws for the good people of this country. And as MMDC and as constituency officer, because most of the time the MP is not around, it's your duty to project the member of parliament and also to espouse the good things that he does in the constituency, and also to raise certain concerns or issues that he may not be aware of or may be oblivious to. So if the one who is supposed to propagate his achievement, the one who is supposed to advise, you decide to contest him or her, then it means that you are undermining or you'll be undermining the work of the member of parliament. So in that case, if you want to contest him, the party will not stop you, but at least you need to resign, so that at least you are not put in that compromised position of trying to undermine the member of parliament. So that was the rationale behind it.
As we've seen today, it's subject to exploitation. It can be abused.
Yes.
Will the party take a second look?
Well, of course, when laws are made, when rules are made, and we see that there are loopholes, and we see that people are exploiting it, it's important or imperative that you tighten the rules and regulation going forward. So it's something that we've seen going forward. At least we'll advise ourselves accordingly.
Since you're here, I mean, you're going into a major elections on December 7. What you don't want is any form of tension between yourselves and other stakeholders that can obviously cost you votes, particularly when it happens to be in your stronghold of the Ashanti region. You were before Mensah this week because of allegations made against your original chairman, Mr. Wontumi. You made assurances to the Mensah. Where are you in trying to resolve this issue?
Well, I think the New Patriotic Party as a political party have so much respect for chieftaincy institutions in Ghana, and anytime we are called upon to appear before them, we have no other option than to oblige and also appear before them. And for me, whatever the issue is or whatever the issues are, the party is in firm control of it, and I can assure you that there will be an amicable solution to whatever impasse or issues that are there.
You agreed with it? The ultimatum was very clear. You're going to go with Wontumi?
But don't worry, at least the party knows what we have to do.
Okay, have you had the opportunity to talk? Because you are a stalwart in the region before you became General Secretary. Have you managed to talk to the Tunfor on this?
Is that a question?
Yes. Have you managed to talk to the Tunfor on this matter?
If I don't expect me to respond whether yes or no, it's something that I can't comment about.
But concerned that this may affect your chances in the region?
Well, we acknowledge that the Ashanti region is the stronghold of the NPP. Everybody knows that. And whatever we have to do to make sure that we consolidate our base and make sure that at least there continue to be a peaceful atmosphere within the rank and file of our party. And it's something that we are very clear in our mind that we have to do. And I can assure you that we have taken several significant steps to make sure that all issues that affect the region, both the party and also our revered traditional institutions are addressed. It's something that we are not taking for granted. We are really on top of it, and we will see through that there's amicable solution or peaceful atmosphere in the party.
So there's a concern there that if this is not managed properly, it can cost you votes. It can cost you votes in Ashanti region.
Everywhere, whatever issues that arises, you have to find solutions to it. Whether Ashanti region, Eastern region, or Northern region, we need votes, and important stakeholder like the chieftaincy institution is something that you cannot sweep under the carpet or ignore. So whatever the party has to do in all areas where there are issues, internally and externally, is something that we treat as very important.
Have you had a chance to talk to Wontumi?
Who to me is my regional chairman. So we always talk every day. I get briefing from him with respect to matters that goes on in the region. And also, just like I talk to other regional chairpersons.
But on this specific matter, since it happened, have you spoken to him? What did he tell you?
I talk to him every day. So whatever discussion that we have to hold, we've done that.
On the accusations against him that he said derogatory things about the Mensah Palace, the party obviously have looked into it from your conversations. What did he tell you about it? What is his side of the story?
Well, I don't think it's something I want us to discuss here. It's an internal matter, with respect to our revered chiefs and traditional council. I don't think we can discuss the matter. It's a very sensitive matter that I don't feel comfortable to talk about it.
You are going before them on Monday? Or before that?
Well, Nanam have invited us, and they've certainly, with the respect that we have for them, if we have to be there on Monday, we'll be there on Monday.
Still in the Ashanti region, we've heard from party stalwarts, the latest being Joe Gatti. I spoke to him on Monday, and he says the party has a decision that the vice president should come from the Ashanti region. Is that the case?
Well, I don't know when the party met to make that decision. As senior secretary, I'm not aware that the party has met to take that decision. And if the party is going to take that decision, definitely I'll be one of the first people who will know. So I can tell you authoritatively that the party has not taken a decision as to which region the vice president will come from. And mind you, when it comes to appointment of running mates, the constitution is very clear. The presidential candidate, in consultation with the National Council, will make that decision. But it starts with the presidential candidate, and therefore it bestows on him to look through it, to scan around and see which of personalities in or even outside the party who can complement his effort in our quest to win elections in 2024. So it's something that is a sole prerogative of the presidential candidate, and I don't think it is fair for anyone to give him guidance and also to impose on him which place or which region or which religion that he must choose from. Let him make that decision. When it comes to us, they also have opinions to make. Then we can make those opinions.
But you don't disagree that the Ashanti region will give you the best chance of, I guess, getting the most votes. 75% or more historically is what you've always needed in the Ashanti region to win the national elections. You don't disagree that a running mate from there will put you in the best position to get maximum votes?
No, again, it's a decision of the presidential candidate. He has to make that decision, and definitely once the decision is made by him, he will come with the reasons why he's appointing A or nominating A to be his running mate. For me, I don't want us to make it region specific. We are looking for competence. We are looking for someone who can complement him, who can serve as a good running mate, someone who can give us votes. So I know and I trust in his judgment that he will give us a good candidate or good running mate.
And very finally, vote buying. The last time you went to the primary in orphan constituencies, we had evidence of people sharing money. The OSP got involved, declared some party folks wanted. I know you got involved too because you wanted to investigate to find out who these people are and crack the whip. First of all, updating, what has happened to that particular case?
Well, I saw from your screens like people were talking about they had this, they had that, and you invited them to the national party. But unfortunately, they couldn't give us names, and so it's more become something like hearsay, and it's difficult for us to even get proof. Because yes, you saw the person holding money. Who gave you the money? The person is not prepared to talk about it.
In one case, actually, the envelope had the name of one of the candidates on it.
I didn't see that envelope, so maybe I have to look at your screen again. And I'm happy that you also mentioned OSP. And that's why we also have state institutions. It's their duty to also to make sure that at least when these issues, allegations comes up, they have the special services and the special composition or disposition to look at all these matters. So it's something that we need to make sure that at least incidents of this nature, it's not good for our body politics, MPP, NDC, whatever. At least we should get to a point whereby people are able to elect candidates based on merit. It's not about monocracy issues or based on material matters. It's something that in another day we can have that frank discussion. Have all political parties there to look at it, how monocracy is affecting our body politics. Something that I don't subscribe.
for candidates this weekend?
Well,
What's the party's position to them?
We have
Point to them on this.
we have advised them, and per the rules and regulations, I've also talked about that the party frowns on monocracy in our elections, and we want candidates to go and campaign based on their competence and what they can do for the good people in their constituencies. And it should not be based about giving people money to vote for you. It doesn't augur well for our body politics. So that advice has gone, and we are hoping that on come Saturday, the best candidates will be elected based on competence, but not about who paid what and how much the person paid.
Justin Kodia-Frimpong is the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice.
And all the best ahead of Saturday. And you want to stay with us for a comprehensive coverage of the MPP parliamentary primaries. We are starting at 7 all the way till we know enough of the results to give you a clearer picture of what has happened. We're expecting some giants to fall. They always do. Major casualties. We'll be analyzing all that for you if you join us from 7 throughout the day. We are going to be here on Joy 99.7 FM on the Joy News channel, on myjoyonline.com, and across our many social media platforms. Election headquarters is always brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. This is News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Now tonight, acquitted and discharged retired ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo is taking on the Defense Minister Dominic Neto, accusing him of instigating his prosecution, which he describes as malicious. Now, 6 individuals implicated in the alleged coup plot were convicted for conspiracy to commit high treason and committing high treason. However, ACP Benjamin Agojo and 2 others were acquitted and discharged. He explains why the defense minister, he claims, instigated his prosecution. He spoke to my colleague, Raymond Akwa.
Investigation, we call, you reconstruct the scene.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So by reconstructing the scene, you are saying that you go back and reflect, and then you begin to see how this whole thing started, and you are able to make a logical conclusion. When I reconstructed the whole thing, I realized by the time the man said he was going to bring me to order, he had already initiated the investigation. And I got to know that the defense intelligence was the ones who started the investigation with the military people, with General Andor and others, before submitting the whole thing to BNI. Now do you get my point?
I get you.
So having reconstructed the scene, I can tell you that it was the defense intelligence, Mr. Nitu, defense minister, Mr. Nitu, who initiated this whole arrest process. He can take me anywhere he wants, and I'll prove to him that he was the one who did it. And I'm saying this on record because I have it. It's on phone. Whatever he said is on phone. It's on alert with Adam Bona. If you ask Adam Bona, he will show it to you.
And this was because there's a disagreement over whether or not an uprising
was possible or not, and a civil uprising which was posted by somebody allegedly said they said Dr. Nyahu Tamekulu says Arab civil uprising is imminent in Ghana, and we started discussing it. If you don't like my views or you don't understand my views, ask for clarification. People say you are on platform and you are talking. What are platforms for? Platforms are for expressing opinions, especially on security matters.
The expectation is that mindful of the role you play in the security service.
Mindful of what role?
Because you're a senior officer.
Yes.
When people hear you say certain things, the presumption is that we should take it very serious.
Yes, then they should have taken it serious. They should have taken it serious. How many people haven't spoken about Arab Spring in Ghana? They didn't say that. How many people? I don't want to mention names, but how many people haven't spoken about? What have they been arrested?
What you are telling me today is that our conception or the understanding that some have that Arab Spring means that it's a coup d'etat. It's a coup d'etat.
It's myopic.
It's an unconstitutional change of government.
It's myopic.
Well, yesterday, after the judgment was delivered by the court, we heard from the Attorney General Godfred Dame, who criticized ACP Agojo for making the Arab Spring comments. Well, today, in this interview with my colleague Raymond Akwa, Mensah Agojo gave this reaction.
The only thing that sends some details in their spine and whatever is the fact that I mentioned Arab Spring. And yesterday, one minister was still talking about that, despite my acquittal and discharge. He thought that I shouldn't. Do they and I think that they are...
the Attorney General himself, and I heard him speak, he said, what business has a senior police officer a serving officer, staying on a platform and talking about Arab Spring.
Does he understand Arab Spring? If he doesn't, he should keep quiet. If he doesn't understand Arab Spring, he should keep quiet.
But he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer, but being a lawyer doesn't mean that you know everything. You can be a lawyer and be an ignoramus in an area. I teach conflict. Do you understand me? I told you I teach conflict at even MPhil level. I teach it at Kofi Annan. I teach it at all levels. Arab Spring or civil uprising and other things are democratic means of expressing dissent in every society. Today we espouse people like Martin Luther King and other things. Why are we espousing them?
But we knew in 2011 that these things led to the removal of governments. Tunisian example is clear. The other countries within the Arab regions, that the explicit definition and appreciation.
You are talking about explicit definition. That is common knowledge.
Yes.
But when you look at Arab Spring, it is like any other spontaneous demonstration by citizens to express their dissatisfaction.
Which in the reality and the examples
if it leads to the fact that a government decides that, do you know that we can, the Kumi Preku could have led to Rawlings saying that, okay, I've resigned. Could it have been called Arab Spring? The Kumi Preku in Ghana.
I'm not sure.
Could have led to Rawlings saying, okay, I've resigned. Once the VAT has been defeated and other things have resigned. When you go to the literature, go and Google it anywhere. Be careful you don't go to Wikipedia.
I get that.
Because when you go to Wikipedia, Wikipedia will give you some definition of a rebellion, a mutiny, and other things. And I proved to the prosecution in court that when they need a definition to issues, they should not go to Wikipedia, because they came out with a Wikipedia definition which I drew their attention to. And they could not talk about it again. So go to
the Attorney General of the Republic of
Ghana. I'm saying the prosecution team.
Okay, all right.
Whoever was representing them, and it's on record. I can produce. It's a court record, and I can give you.
But that should be very strange. I mean.
Yes. So at the end of the day, you come to appreciate the fact that when you go to Wikipedia definition, it will tell you it's a mutiny. It is so and so. But go to other definitions which are acceptable in academia, because when you quote today, you quote Wikipedia definitions. In academia, in the universities, they will not take you serious.
I get it. I know that.
So
every first year student of a university would know that. That's basically.
So I'm saying that when you want to know the real definition of Arab Spring, don't go to Wikipedia. Go to other sources and it will tell you the real meaning of it.
And you say that's what they confronted you with, a Wikipedia definition of it.
A Wikipedia definition and their myopic understanding of that term. And that is what they confront. And that's what they have held on to till today. And that's what Attorney General is still holding on to. He should go and learn. He should go and learn. Because he's not dealing with just people. He's dealing with people who have also climbed the ladder somewhere.
Is it
they
true?
have mistreated me. They have persecuted me. And even when the court has pronounced me acquitted and discharged, the Attorney General is walking out there to say that if they had done their work very well, I would have been also imprisoned.
Well, the full interview is currently airing on the Joy News channel. You want to catch it. It's also on many social media platforms, also on the myjoyonline.com. You don't want to miss that. It's still live, your news night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. The Land and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor has disclosed exclusively to Joy News that the Economic Management Team is considering feasibility studies on the possible withdrawal of value-added tax on mining exploration in Ghana. The Trade Union Congress at a news conference a couple of days ago questioned why the sector minister is given a free pass to rich multinational mining firms as it relates to the VAT. Especially at the time when government is imposing 15% value-added tax on electricity consumption for non-lifeline consumers. Now, breaking his silence on the matter, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister says the policy measures has been tabled before the Economic Management Team.
I think it's a matter that we have to interrogate and examine, and it's a matter that is currently before the Economic Management Team of government, which is being examined thoroughly and dispassionately. We need to strike a careful balance, the balance between taxing the industry, which I believe the Chamber and all of us agree is one that we cannot escape, as well as also making the Ghanaian mining industry attractive in terms of attracting investment into the industry. Because the bedrock of every mining industry is exploration. Without exploration, you don't have the industry, because the exploration that unearths or that reveals whatever resources you have. And so if you have a regime which makes exploratory activities unattractive, your industry eventually will collapse. But as I say, it requires a careful balance, and we have to strike that balance carefully. What will be that balance? What line we draw is, as we speak, being examined by the economic management team. So nothing is concluded.
Well, Blessed Suga was at that event and joins me in the studio. Blessed, there's a strong call from the labor unions that if anything at all, the multinationals, as far as they are mining, should pay more taxes.
Exactly. They believe that that's the standard practice around the world, and that when countries go through economic challenges, they would want to fall on their mineral reserves to cushion their citizens. They are questioning why the government will now be considering removing VAT on mining exploration. But the argument from the Chamber of Mines is that this is financing that is coming in primarily to do exploration, which is a highly risky venture. You're not certain if indeed when you go into exploration, you'll come out positive, finding a mineral deposit. So that's why government is considering reviewing the policy. And I put that question to Samuel Abujinapo, the sector minister, as to what is likely to happen and if it's appropriate for government to be considering removing VAT at the time Ghanaians are paying 15% VAT on electricity. He says that there should be perhaps other ways of taxing these multinational companies.
Yeah, but you can tax them in other areas, not exploration. I don't suggest that we should not, but if in direct response to that argument would be that perhaps tax in other areas, because exploration is a very risky venture. Half of the time you spend so much millions of dollars in exploratory activity and you find nothing. So it's a high risk venture, and without it, you don't have an industry. Without it, you don't have discoveries.
The president was also there at the Africa Prosperity Dialogues. What did he say?
That's right. So the Africa Prosperity Network is focusing, as part of its dialogue this year, on adding value to mineral resources of African countries. And for the president, he's puzzled as to why, Ghana and other African countries are wealthy when it comes to mineral deposits and are not able to transform that into economic benefits for their citizenry. His belief is that this is a time for actors across the African continent to come together and to leverage on the optimal policies that can be deployed to derive some benefits in terms of financing or funding for developmental needs of many African countries, including Ghana.
Accounts for only 3% of global trade. And inter-Africa trade is one of the lowest of any region globally. This is largely due to the colonial economic model, characterized by small individual economies, fragmented and disconnected regional markets, over reliance on the export of primary commodities, and the presence of low productive capacities, which have been well in existence for over a century. By fostering inter-Africa trade, the AFCFTA is going to ensure that it continues to create opportunities for businesses to expand beyond their borders, driving economic growth and creating a more integrated and interconnected continent. To unlock the full potential of trade for prosperity, let us prioritize the development of efficient transportation and logistics infrastructure, streamline trade processes, and embrace digital technologies that facilitate cross-border transactions.
And that there is President Akufo-Addo. So live here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Still ahead, our Sick Hospital series, focusing on the Fiakwanta Regional Hospital in the Western region, where health workers are pleading for a working defibrillator. The absence of it is making it difficult to save patients when they get cardiac arrest.
But because we didn't have, we continued with our CPR, and when we were all exhausted, we had to call it.
Details as it emerges, it is the norm in most hospitals in the country. I will hear from the Ghana Health Service. George Jaffe is here with the very latest from the world of business. What's in the headline?
Well, Evans, coming up in business, World Bank assures of measures to ensure prudent use of $300 million approved for Ghana to aid budget support. And consultant Francis Timoboy cast doubts over January 1 implementation date for 7 new taxes as more institutions cite difficulties in enforcing these levies. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntax Tanks and Pepsodent, Charcoal and Herbal.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex tank. Syntex tank, stress-free. Syntex tank, reliable. Syntex tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a year strong, a year tough.
Dive into a new era of news consumption with myjoyonline.com, your go-to destination for cutting-edge journalism, giving you the most credible stories from business to politics and from sports to entertainment. Myjoyonline.com introduces an upgraded news website meticulously designed to empower you with an enriched browsing experience like never before. Intuitive navigation. Navigate through an array of revamped categories that cater to all interests. Join the conversation with our interactive comments section. Get live TV,
confidence of the football
radio,
they can actually borrow,
and podcast of your favorite TV and radio shows on Joy and Adom platforms. Powerful search. Find any story with ease with a simple click. Access precisely what you're looking for. Experience the future of news browsing with myjoyonline.com.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the World Bank has given the firm assurance that it has measures in place to ensure that funds advanced to government are utilized prudently. The bank this week approved some $300 million for the country to fast-track Ghana's economic recovery. However, the bank is expected to disburse the amount in the coming weeks. David Elmer is senior economist at the World Bank Group.
supports a consistent program of reforms and the funds is based on the effective implementation of these reforms. So these priority areas that I've mentioned before, there is a list of specific reforms that have already been implemented, before these funds get disbursed. In addition, the World Bank ensures that the overall macro fiscal framework is adequate, basically meaning that the budgets, and the debts are sustainable or are on a path to sustainability. And finally, we monitor these macro and fiscal policies closely, directly with the government and jointly with the IMF.
What is your overall expectation on how this inflow will impact on the broader economy?
We hope that it will help shore up the government finances, finance the fiscal for this year, but also help to rebuild the foreign exchange reserves and confidence in Ghana in general.
David Elmela is the senior economist at the World Bank Group. Now, tax consultant Francis Timoboy says government may struggle with its implementation date with the 7 new taxes per the proposed date. The Ghana Revenue Authority has directed businesses and some regulators to start charging these taxes from January 1, 2024. However, the Electricity Company of Ghana and other institutions have struggled to implement these taxes from the set date due to some challenges. Mr. Timoboy says government may have to review the implementation dates for these taxes.
Today, if you buy any insurance product, there is no VAT. We are aware that there are current engagements with the GRA and even the ministry. So why do you pass a law on 31st December, 31st night, when possibly people are even having check service, and then you expect them to implement it on 1st January? So VAT on insurance has not been implemented. Take, for example, the emission tax. People have not even paid for it because the timing is not good. And it goes back to the question, the point that you need to give implementation date, time for people to, pay the taxes. Otherwise, you would think that the law is in force and GRA will just go and collect the money from the people because they were agents and they were supposed to have collected it. Meanwhile, in reality, they didn't collect the tax. So many taxes that we have could not have started 1st January.
And Francis Timoboy is a tax consultant. Now, the IMF is projecting that Ghana would end next year with an inflation rate of 8%. Now, this should mean that the single inflation rate that has eluded Ghana for a long while might be realized in 2025. It is also supporting government end-of-year inflation rate of hitting 15% by December this year. The forecast is coming at a time that the Monetary Policy Committee is taking steps to sustain the inflation rate decline over the past months. The fund is also projecting that the monetary value of Ghana's economy will cross 1 trillion Ghana cedis, that is this year. Now, Ghana today ended its meeting with the Eurobond holders and commercial creditors over moves to restructure about $13 billion. But was government able to push through with its proposed terms? There is more in this report.
Government was looking at a 7-year moratorium when it comes to interest payment on these Eurobond and up to 40% cut on the principal, as well as interest that will be paid. However, we are not sure for now whether government was able to close a deal with the investors on these proposed deals. Another issue that influenced this meeting is the fact that the bilateral creditors want to enjoy the same terms and conditions that government will extend to these Eurobond holders. This is what some might describe as complementarity. After this first round of meeting, there will be another final round which will be jointly led by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, when it comes to restructuring of the $13 billion Eurobond. The Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has disclosed that he's hoping to finalize negotiations with the bilateral creditors and Eurobond holders by the end of March this year. Ghana is scheduled for the second IMF program review in April this year. If the country is able to pass this test, it might be eligible for some $350 million from the IMF to support some projects in the 2024 budget.
That is a Business Desk report. Now, the Bank of Ghana has indicated that it will not hesitate in sanctioning any money transfer operator and agent caught flouting the operational guidelines. Now, this was contained in an updated guideline for inward remittance by the payment service providers. The Bank of Ghana added that any operator must ensure that it fully complies with the Money Laundering Act in line with the risk in the business that it is undertaking. The regulator said in the guideline that noted that taking these actions are critical to ensure that the sector which promotes the inclusion of the economy is well established and realize that it provides a major contribution to the national economy. An event on PM Express Business Edition tonight, we are engaging the Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Kosi Yanke, about supporting entrepreneurs and small, medium-sized enterprise in this country. Since they started operations, how much have they been able to disburse to these small businesses? The status of support is at 9 p.m. tonight on Joy News Channel and all the social media platforms at 9 p.m. To the stock market, if you're a shareholder in Standard Chartered Bank, it was down by 2 pesos to close at 17 Ghana cedis 53 pesos. In terms of the year to date, or how much you have realized in your investment since the beginning of this year, it's up by more than a peso, or in terms of 1.35%, that is this year. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much, George. Now, finding a working defibrillator, a tool that is used to jolt patients back to life in Ifiankwanta Regional Hospital in the Western region, is akin to the 9th wonder of the world. The sole defibrillator in the hospital is currently faulty and was donated by foreign students. Health workers are distressed and are crying for a working defibrillator, insisting it is becoming difficult to save patients who have cardiac arrest. Jojo Kabana has more.
A defibrillator is a life-saving equipment. When the heart is not beating normally, the defibrillator is used to deliver controlled electric shock to the heart. This shock can help restore the heart's normal rhythm in cases of sudden cardiac arrest. In countries like South Korea and the UK, defibrillators can be found in public places like pubs, markets, and crowded places. What about Ghana? The Ghana Harmonized Health Facility Assessment Report 2023 says only 5% of hospitals in Ghana have the required basic equipment in consulting rooms. We make our way to Ghana's oil city, Takoradi. The Ifiankwanta Regional Hospital receives referrals from across the region. It is fair to say that it serves over 3 million population. Can the hospital save your life if you go into cardiac arrest? Dr. Joseph Kojo Tambil, the medical superintendent of the hospital, is passionate. He wants his medical staff to get the best equipment to serve patients. With some hesitation, he admits that even the only available defibrillator has challenges.
And the defibrillator doesn't work properly, like it function
with
well.
a few challenges, but with batteries and all that. But when called upon, it would function. But like I said, we need more of those machines rather than just one.
The only defibrillator, which is now 40, was even donated by foreign students who saw the need for the equipment in the emergency room. To make you understand the issue better, Regina Kweku, the unit head of the Accident and Emergency Center, shares a recent story.
We had this patient that was brought in with electrical shock. With that one, because of the external electrical current, it sends the rhythm to a different rhythm. So if we had this, we could have reversed, we could have shocked the patient to set the rhythm to the normal. But because we didn't have, we continued with our CPR, and when we were all exhausted, we had to call it.
For those who do not understand what the term "call it," it simply means they had pronounced the patient dead. How often do they call it?
So it does happen very often. Very often.
Very often, as she says, that Dr. Nicholas Ajabu is head biomedical engineering unit at the Ministry of Health, joins us on the line right now. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So why is it that Ifiankwanta Hospital, and from what we now understand, many hospitals across the country do not have defibrillators?
Good evening. I will say that some of the hospitals have defibrillators, but the problem with defibrillator is that it has to be tight and maintenance has to be one of the key things to ensure that when you need it, it will be available. We are all aware of the maintenance portal. Even sometimes the equipment that has to be connected to power to ensure that a charge at all times is not done at the facility level. So this contributes to failure of defibrillators, even when
but Doc, the problem we are talking about is that the hospitals do not have defibrillators at all. You must have it first and then fail to maintain. So the conversation about maintenance, it's putting the car before the horse.
No, I won't say they don't have it at all. Some of them have them.
Yeah, I'm talking about those hospitals that currently do not have, and there are many of them.
All right.
Yes, as we just illustrated in Efiankwanta. Why don't they have it?
Efiankwanta had some, but it has to be replaced from time to time. You have to charge it at all times so that when you need it, it will be made available.
Well, now they don't have it at all. They've not had it for a while. I mean, what will happen to get them one? And for all the hospitals across the country who don't have?
Okay. The ministry has programs that procure as and when funds are made available. So we include some of these things in our procurement. During the COVID period, a number of hospitals received some of these defibrillators. But I must say that looking at the number of hospitals that we have, it means that we need substantial amount to achieve the maximum level of stock of equipment required to run services at all levels.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Nicholas Ajabu is the head Biomedical Engineering Unit, Ministry of Health. Let's do sports now, and Ms. Bao is here with the latest.
Hello, Evans. Well, it's been just about 24 hours since the announcement of the sack of Chris Hughton was made, and the search for a new coach has already begun. Has begun with the setting up of a committee, a 5-member committee for that matter, that will be looking for a new coach for the Black Stars. This committee will be chaired by Vice President of the Ghana Football Association, Mark Addo, legal practitioner and law lecturer Ace Ankoma Esquire will act as Vice Chairman of the searching committee, while Director of Coaching Education of the Ghana Football Association, Professor Joseph Kwame Minta, will also be a member, and Ghana football legend Opoku Inti is also on, and there is also William Kaiser Kate, who is the Chief Director of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, all being members of that 5-member committee. Now, the search committee, we understand, has 3 weeks to recommend the next Black Stars coach to the Executive Council for approval. Now, we also understand that a detailed job description for the head coach position of the Black Stars will be made public very soon. However, this is an abbreviated version of the criteria for the selection of the next head coach of the Black Stars. 1, they say the potential head coach should be a proven winner in coaching top men's national team or club football. 2, must have a football philosophy that aligns or complements our DNA. 3, the next Black Stars coach must hold the highest football license in the world with over 15 years coaching experience. And 4, must have proven track record in team reconstruction, organization, and development of young talent. And finally, should be a proven disciplinarian, tactician, and must have some leadership skills. They also came up with a roadmap where they say in the 3 weeks that the committee will be working, for the first week they will be engaged, they will commence work and also consider the criteria and scorecard validation. Then in the second week, the committee is expected to score and shortlist candidates and also undertake interviews. Then in the final week, the search committee must finalize their work and report to the Executive Council. The Executive Council will review and report the reports and make recommendations to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and eventually a final announcement of the head coach of the Black Stars will be made. So we're expecting that at least just after the end of the African Cup of Nations tournament, a new head coach of the Black Stars will be announced. And this will be the 5th coach in 4 years. Remember, 2020, CK Akono, 2021, Milovan Rajovac, 2022, Otoado, and 2023, Chris Sutton. So we are waiting for the 5th Black Stars coach in 4 years. Who is going to be the head coach now?
Jose Mourinho, he's unemployed. Get him. Thank you, Ms. Bao.
You're welcome, Ivan.
And you're still live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Let me take you to the election headquarters now. And election headquarters, as always, brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity, as the new patriotic party gears up for the primaries this weekend. I'm talking about the parliamentary primary. All eyes are focused on the Dom Kwabenya constituency, with the largest voter population, with over 1,070 delegates set to decide the fate of 3 aspirants. The race is anticipated to be keenly contested. Samuel Mbura of our political desk has more in this report.
The Dom Kwabenya seat is currently held by Sarah Adjoa-Safo and is seeking re-election as a parliamentary candidate for the MPP in the upcoming 2024 general election. Residents in the constituency have been expressing their opinions about her candidacy.
Oh, I like Adjoa-Safo because the way you are looking at our area, I like it.
Little I can say is Adjoa-Safo is not helping. She's not helping this community, so for me, she should just go out and another person should come. So I don't think we need her.
For us to give another chance to her, I don't think it's possible. We should just let go of her and bring in new MP.
No. Adjoa-Safo, we didn't like her again because Adjoa-Safo causes trouble for here.
It will be recalled that Sarah Adjoa-Safo previously absented herself from parliamentary duties, causing an uproar within the government, her party, and among her constituents. Consequently, rumors have circulated suggesting attempts by some party executives to oust her as payback for her actions, a claim denied by Theophilus Ansalabi, the constituency secretary.
There hasn't been any machination against her. She went to the market, and even market women were telling her their peace of mind that is enough, and they were hooting at her. So when she went, it wasn't the constituency executive who asked the market women to do that. Basically, it looks like the constituents have had enough of her. That's what it looks like. Everywhere she goes, the response is not as she expects. So she can't blame that on the constituency executive committee.
Sarah Adjoa-Safo's fierce contender, who lost to her in the last election by 8 votes, Michael Okwe Jr., is capitalizing on her flaws and remains optimistic of a win.
You can see that when the president appointed her with his power, he has removed her. In fact, there was an attempt by the parliamentarians themselves to remove her, but this was blocked by the NDC. When you have an MPP MP who is being protected by NDC MP, then you know that there's a big problem on the ground.
I think she's in bed with them?
Oh, I wouldn't want to go as far as that. I don't know about being in bed, but I'm saying that that is what came out.
And you really don't want to miss Saturday, because this is one of the constituencies we are focusing on. It is a battleground indeed, and we are going to be spending a lot of time talking about that and watching what happens in that particular constituency. And you're still live, you're on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM, and it's now time for our Clean Ghana campaign. I want to take you to the Western region. Of course, we're doing this with the Second D Takrady Metropolitan Assembly and through the partnership with the EU-funded Twin Cities in Sustainable Partnership Projects. Also in collaboration with us, they sent a team out there today. The unannounced visit to inspect the sanitary condition of households and commercial facilities forms part of the effort to make the city the cleanest assembly in the Western region. Natalia is our correspondent, traveled with the team. What did you find today?
Well, Evans, so where we visited, we found out that most vendors were selling, exposing their food to the sun in sanitary conditions. Some households lack toilet facilities, among other nuisances within the Second sub-metro of the SUMA.
Did they arrest anybody?
No, so for this week, it's a week for cautioning. The subsequent week, they'll start arrest and then prosecution. And so they have been cautioned that when we come back next week, they should be prepared to be arrested if they have not done things right.
And thank you very much, Ina. The Clean Ghana campaign is active on the ground. We are now in the Western region, particularly partnering with the Second D Takrady Metropolitan Assembly, doing a great job there, going around regularly with us to ensure that there is cleanliness. I just want to leave you with something from Thursday, because rural communities yet to be connected to the national grid are presented with a challenging environment that impact adversely on livelihoods of farmers. To ease your burden, a lecturer at the Takrady Technical University developed and distributed blenders and shellers built on bicycles to support communities without electricity. Emmanuel Bright Kweku has that report.
Shellers are built on a bicycle frame which employs paddling to power the blades of the blender for cutting and shelling. Kojo Asariapori is the team lead for the eco-friendly project.
Some of the villages in the north where they don't have access to electricity, and the communities, especially the women, they do a lot of labor-intensive farming, and then they have to finish and come back home to cook and all that. Then I noticed that the smoothie bike, which is also called a blender bike, would be useful to them, where what they have in their homes are the stone for grinding and household domestic activity. So we started to try the blender bike with them. Then we noticed that it worked. We built corn grinder for them, shea butter grinder for them. We built rice dehuxer. We built also corn remover. And what they do is that they use it this time around without needing to buy electricity or even buy fuel.
And that's it for Newsnight. Tonight, up next is Personality Profile. Eric Ebo Aqua is a founder and managing director of Blue Rose Limited.